So, you want to know about flashes, do you? Well then, stop your chatter and I'll tell you. To understand what flashes are, we must travel nearly 200 years back in time to the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, when coal mines began to pop up all over Greater Manchester. The coal, taken from deep underground, was burnt in great furnaces to produce power for the mills and factories of the city. But then, because of the removal of coal and stone from underground, the land above began to sink, and as it sunk, it filled with water. And as it filled with water, plants began to grow. And with the plants came aquatic insects and animals and birds. Then, as the plants and animals thrived, we began to call these wonderful areas of natural splendour flashes. And they are indeed splendiferous. For, in no small part, they are home to the amazingly wonderful but extremely rare willow tit. Unfortunately, due to climate change, the willow tit is having to move further and further north. And soon it might leave the flashes altogether. So, flashes are formed when land sinks and fills with water. And the land sinks because of mining. And why were we mining? Well, to get coal to burn in power plants to produce electricity. But when we burn coal, we also release carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas, which in turn makes the earth become warmer. Which then, as the earth gets warmer and warmer, the willow tit begins to move away. So, does that mean that carbon dioxide is good or bad? Well, it's a simple question with a complicated answer. Everyone, breathe in. Now breathe out. What have we just released? What gas have we just breathed out? That's right, carbon dioxide. And what living thing needs carbon dioxide to survive? What living thing that's surrounding me right now? That's right, plants and trees. And so, carbon dioxide is found in nature and is essential for life. The problem is when we get too much of it and nature becomes overwhelmed. Does that make sense? I tell you what, let's play a game and hopefully that will clear things up. First of all, the setup. You'll need some small balls and lots of them. They should be like a tennis ball in size. And throughout the game, these balls will represent carbon dioxide. This is important. So remember, the balls are carbon dioxide. Then you'll need 3 bucket-sized containers filled to the brim with the small balls, the carbon dioxide. Fill them to the brim so that the balls are just about to fall out, just about to overflow. Now, place these containers on the floor in a triangle shape. Make sure to leave 5 large steps between each container. Then fill another 3 containers with even more balls. These containers can be bigger than the others. Actually, the bigger the better. Keep these ones away from the containers that form the triangle. You can now pause the video to go set up the game. Got everything? 3 small containers filled to the brim with balls and placed in a triangle on the ground. 3 larger containers filled with balls. Good. Now it's time to select the players. First, choose 6 players to play as nature, the nature players. You are the plants, the soil, the water, the animals. You are life on Earth. Then select 1 person to be our hero. Finally, everyone else will play as a coal-burning power plant, the power plant players. Pause the video now while you select your players. All sorted? Yeah? Got your nature players, yeah? Found your hero? Yeah? Everyone else is a power plant? Good. Next, how to play. 1. Nature players. Go stand next to the buckets that are in a triangle. Make sure that there are 2 players next to each bucket. Now, it's your job to move the balls, the carbon dioxide, around the triangle of buckets in a constant cycle. You must pick up a ball from the bucket you are next to, walk over to the next bucket in a clockwise direction, and then place your ball into it. Then you walk back to where you started from and do it again. Like this. Keep doing this so that the balls, the carbon dioxide, is constantly moving, making sure that none of the buckets overflow. You see, this is what happens in nature. Carbon dioxide moves around in a natural cycle, moving from one living thing to another in balance. 2. The hero stands next to any of the buckets in the triangle. Your job is to protect these buckets, to make sure that no extra carbon dioxide gets into them. You can only protect one bucket at a time, but you can move between buckets. When you are stood next to a bucket, put out your hand like this. 3. The power plant players must try to make the buckets overflow by placing as many extra balls, carbon dioxide, into the buckets in the triangle. You can take as many balls from your large containers as possible, and you can run. But you can't put a ball into the bucket where the hero is. You also can't pick up any balls from the floor. You're trying to overwhelm the buckets after all. So, to recap. The nature players must move the carbon dioxide around in the cycle, walking all the time, nice and slow, slow and steady. The hero must stop any extra carbon dioxide, any extra balls, getting into the cycle. They can only protect one bucket at a time, but they can run. The power plant players must take the carbon dioxide and add it to the cycle. Take a ball and put it in the buckets to try and make them overflow. The power plant players can take as many balls as they want and can run. But they can't add any new balls to a bucket when the hero's there. No one can pick balls up from the floor. Okay? Right. Pause the film now, go and play, and then come back, unpause it, and I'll tell you something else, okay? So go on. Go and play. Welcome back. How was the game? Fun? Confusing? Chaotic? Yeah, I bet it was. But more importantly, was it fair? Did the nature players manage to keep the bucket from overflowing? Or was it that by the end of the game, the balls all over the floor? You see, what's happened there is that too much carbon dioxide has got into nature, and nature can't handle it. Instead, the carbon dioxide has built up and has overflowed, and the cycle has got overwhelmed. And that's what's happening with climate change. Carbon dioxide exists in nature. It's great. But when we burn fossil fuels to generate electricity, that we all love and use, we also release more carbon dioxide. And it builds up and builds up. Nature can't handle it, becomes overwhelmed, and the world gets warmer. Now, there are heroes out there that are trying to stop carbon dioxide getting to nature, or at least slow it down. Heroes like people who use clean, renewable energy. Heroes that walk or cycle to work or school, instead of getting in a car that burns petrol and releases more carbon dioxide. Yeah. But, as you've seen in the game, one hero isn't enough. We need more. And the Carbon Landscape Partnership is trying to help make more heroes. Yeah. by making new footpaths and cycleways. Yeah. And you can help too. Could you be a hero? Could you think of ways to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide getting into nature? I bet you can. Anyway, I better go now. You can play the game again if you want. This time, change the rules to make it fairer for nature and for the hero. Why not slow down the power plant players? Maybe make them only carry one ball. Change the game in favour for nature. Right, until I see you again, goodbye, good luck, good gravy. Bye now. Goodbye. Love the marshmallow.